Bring others to him. What is the first thing to do with Jesus called the Christ? Bring order. What to do with Jesus? Bring others to him. You don't keep quiet about what you love. You don't keep quiet about what you are happy about. You don't keep quiet about what overwhelms you. You don't keep quiet about what overwhelms you. What takes the whole of your being. Bring others to him. The Christ you don't tell people about is a Christ you have not personally encountered. The Christ you don't tell others about is a Christ you have not personally encountered. Because you encounter this Christ, you want the world to hear it. You want the world to know it. You want the world to know what he has done for you. If you encounter this Christ, you want the world to be part of what you have enjoyed. That even in hell, the rich man said, Father Abraham, send Lazarus. Send Lazarus. Send Lazarus. Send Lazarus. You want the world to know. The highest thing anybody can do for you in this life is to die for you. Am I talking to somebody here? The highest thing anybody can do for you is to die for you. And only one man died. Forget Titanic, it's a movie. Forget Titanic, that was a movie. Christ died. Nobody can die for you. Nobody will die for you. Even you can't die for yourself. No husband can die for you. No wife can die for you. No mother, no father, no friend. One day I turned to my wife. I said, do you love me? She was just all over me. I said, do you love me? She said, too much. Do you love me too much? Can you die for me? She looked at me. I said, can you die for me? He said, what will you be alive to be doing? If I die and go, why are you alive? He said, my husband, no, I can't die for you. If you say something happen, we go together, fine. But say, I will die for you. Nobody can die for you. Even you can't die for yourself. Am I communicating now? So you have to understand that. But the only person who can die for you has already died for you. If a man dies, and guess what? He died for the world. He died. He paid the price. This is not a myth, not a fiction, not a movie, not a script, not a story, not a skit. He died. He was bruised for you. Every drop of blood that fell from him was for you. Do you know that Jesus was given 40 stripes? 40 stripes. And medical science tells us all the classes of diseases fall under 39. Every class of disease fall under 39 categories. And Jesus was given 40 stripes for your sickness. So he took one stripe for every sickness and had one extra for a sickness that is on the way coming. Even a sickness that has not been found. He took one stripe each and there's an extra one. So he died for your sickness. Died for your disease. Died for your iniquity. Died for your pain. Died to break addiction. He died. A young woman sent me a message yesterday and said she's been following. She does not believe in our ministry. She said, "Message, Papa, I got your number, but the truth is that I didn't like you. I don't watch you. Because I just did not like you." And of course, there are people like that who have what they like, what they don't like. He said, "But one day I stumbled on your prayer called Wonders Without Number. Actually, my son came from school. His school's in the UK. I was playing it, and it was disturbing me. I was trying to listen. No, they were not saying anything. All I was hearing for more than 5 minutes was ra-da-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da. I mean, when I hear the word, I didn't like you. But your ministry changed my whole life." I said, "Call me." And she began to explain what was the problem. For 22 years, she was addicted to drinking pent. You know pent? Pent. P-A-I-N-T. Pent. Paint. Paint. Is it paint or? Oh. Paint. She was addicted. But it was a secret addiction. She would buy it and keep it It's only one time, she had a divorce and got married to somebody else. He said the person she remarried was the only person who noticed a cup of paint one time under the bed. Take paint and drink it. It was an addiction. He said she told the son, bring down the volume. The son brought down the volume. So the next day the son was listening. And the son was, when you talk about somebody who argues everything, he was shocked for my son to believe this. The son said, no, I follow this man. I believe in him. I believe in what God is doing to him. She decided to follow the prayer for just 2-3 days. He said by the third day, paint began to irritate her. She waited 1 week, she didn't take it. 2 weeks, she didn't take it. She said she's not going to testify. She waited for 6 months. He said, sir, it has never happened. 22 years. He said, maximum 48 hours, I must take it. He said, but for 6 months, I am ill. If he said, sometime when I think that I was taking paint, I start crying. Who saved her? Jesus. He saved her from addiction. He paid the price. So no matter the addiction in your life, there is a God that can break you free from that addiction. There's a God that can save you. There are people addicted to things they can't say. Addiction. If you know what he has done for your life, you will tell others about it. If you know the price that has been paid, you talk about it. Bring others. He said, bringing many sons to glory. We have a generation of people that don't understand that you are saved to serve. Let my people go that they may serve you. Bring others to him. Proverbs 11 verse 30. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth a soul. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 18 and 19. Christ has reconciled us to God, reconciling us to himself by Christ, and has given us a ministry of reconciliation. Verse 19. So our ministry, verse 19, to wit, God was in Christ, reconciling the world unto himself, not imputing their trespasses unto them, and hath committed unto us the word of reconciliation. What is salvation? Salvation is not confessing sin, it's confessing Christ. How many of your sin can you remember? The one you have been committing. Some of you became sinners when you were 2 years. From the womb, you have been a sinner. In sin did my mother conceive me. I mean, your own consciousness, your deliberate conscious evil began from 3. You started stealing. The way children lie. Yesterday, I was doing the free food feeding. I was almost angry. I saw a child. I gave him food. Me. If I even argued with me, he said, I don't want white and rice and stew. I want jollof. So I gave him jollof before, so I took the jollof, I gave him white rice and stew. So that's instant stock. It's stock. I was just giving orders so I could. I moved to the next row. I saw this boy. He said, I want swallow. I said, you have eaten before. He said, Pastor Paul is shaking his head. He said, no. I said, you have eaten. I gave you food. He said, no. This child should not be more than 12. Face to face before a prophet. No fear. He said no. A shock. I was thinking like, is this deja vu? Is this deja vu? I said, I gave you food. He said, sir, I never eat. I never eat. I never eat. So one of his friend who knew just said, come on, come here. I said, what? He said, Daddy, don't chop. No, man, I don't chop. He carried, and I called him back. I said, you would have just told me you are not satisfied. I forgive you. Said, I'm sorry. I said, you don't chop. I said, I chop. Now. Do you know for like 5 minutes, I was very upset. I said, this kind of child can look like this? If this one does not have an encounter with God before he's 20, Now, do you think in 20 years' time you remember this kind of thing they did? But what do you do? Salvation is confessing Christ, accepting. When he comes from the root, it takes out the nature of sin. Romans chapter 10, from verse 8 to verse 15. For what saith it? The word is nigh thee, even in thy heart and in thy mouth. That is the word of faith, which we preach. Verse 9. That if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in thy heart that God raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. Verse 10. For with the heart man believeth unto righteousness, with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. Verse 11, it says, for that scripture said, whosoever believeth on him shall not be ashamed. Verse 12, for there's no difference between the Jew and the Greek. The same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. Verse 13, for whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Verse 14, for how shall they call on him on whom they have not believed? How shall they believe on him of whom they have not heard? How shall they hear without a preacher? How shall they preach except they are sent? Verse 15, for how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace, that bring glad tidings of great joy. Salvation, it gives you access to God. If you don't know God, you don't know good. No matter the money you have, the education, the connection, the contact, if you lack, you don't understand what I'm talking about. Somebody is dying. Your any connection you have with an unsaved person, your first assignment is to get them saved. How can you be in the same house, the same apartment, the same building, with someone you can see he clearly doesn't know God? And it's not, you don't see that as an assignment. We're doing crusades around the world. And my head of media one time was talking of this, the TV, Celebration TV. When they were telling him what, we're having a crusade somewhere, what they were telling him, what we spent, what we sent. And he said, Daddy, evangelism is expensive. Oh. I said, yes, when you want it on a massive scale. You want to see souls saved on a massive scale. I said, this is the right way to spend money for souls. Preach the gospel. That's number one. How do I bring men to him? Your words. Words. You travel from here to Lokoja in a bus and never preached. You live in a particular house. You have never called your neighbor and said, do you know Jesus? Your words. Your words. Matthew 24:14. The gospel must be preached. Mark 6:15. The gospel must be preached. Luke 4:18. The Spirit of God is upon me. He has anointed me to preach the gospel